welcome back to my channel. My name is Isabel and today we're talking about the books I read during the month of August. During the first week of August, I went to the wedding of one of my dearest friends and the book I took with me was The Hobbit. And you might be wondering, why would you take The Hobbit? It's such like an odd choice. But I was feeling that I wanted to watch the Hobbit films and I realized that I've never actually read the book. So I was like, why not? Let's read this. I thought it was very enchanting to bring a book that has a children's audience in mind while going on vacations and relaxation, because it was very easy to read but entertaining. I am not a big fantasy reader, so books like this, when there's not a lot of world building or a lot of crazy things happening, really help me out to get the grasp of the story. The Hobbit was published in 1937 by J.R.R. Tolkien, and you probably have heard of him or The Hobbit or The Lord of the Rings. I am definitely watching Rings of Power, but if you don't know, Bilbo Baggins is a hobbit, a little person, who really likes eating and staying at home and not going out, just like me. So we totally relate like that. But one day the wizard Gandalf comes, knocks on his door with a bunch of dwarves, and they're like, we have an adventure, you want to sign up for it? And he's like, no thanks. But for some reason or the other, he ends up going with them. They go through a lot of trials and tribulations. And what I find very interesting is that as a literature student who has read a lot of epics and chivalrous stories, I love that it's the same formula. You have the group, they encounter an enemy, an object, there's a lesson to be learned there, and then the next one. It is very digestible, it's easy to read, as I said. I love that there is a big emphasis on friendship, and I rate it as a 4 out of 5 stars. Now, why did I do that? I don't want to give any spoilers, but the ending of The Hobbit felt a bit anticlimactic. There is a dragon involved. That's why they're going to the Lonely Mountain. There's a dragon that's taking the dwarves' money and they want to get the gold. So the dragon gets killed super quickly. And I don't know if this is just me that I wanted to like keep going, but after encountering a lot of enemies, it felt like the dragon should have been a bigger enemy. It was like bite-sized, very much like all the other enemies. And then we had this big battle with a lot of armies that I think it was kind of difficult for me to picture. Maybe because I'm not used to reading fantasy and reading these types of battles, or maybe because our main character Bilbo Baggins was not very prevalent in this battle. So because we are with him, we missed on a lot of the main action happening there. The reason why I gave it 4 out of 5 was because when Gandalf and Bilbo talk at the end, like the resolution, the conclusion, the big message was like, don't think you were special. After all, you were a hobbit. Like, it wasn't fate, it was just like good luck, I guess. And understanding where Tolkien comes from as someone that was part of this generation of writers who were very much touched by war, and when they came back everything was changed and they felt devastated on the inside. I understand that, but maybe as a millennial, I like the idea of you are the chosen one because you're special. You know what I mean? But the resolution here was like, you're not special at all, you're just like a little person. And he goes like, I am very happy for that I am not special. And I don't know, it's speaking to kids, but it comes from someone that has experienced a lot of trauma from war. So you need to kind of balance those out. But definitely I had a great time reading it. It kind of made me want to read The Lord of the Rings, so I might do that in my next break. But let's move on. Then, as further proof that this channel is all over the place because it's based on what I like reading and I like everything, we had I Am Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. This was a new release, very popular. You have a full video of me talking about this almost like a day after I finished reading it or so. So it is very fresh in all your memories. If you don't know what this book is about, this is actually a memoir from a former child star from Nickelodeon, but it mostly focuses on her relationship with her mother. Child stardom comes into play, and I think it's very well described because it's not afraid to talk about horrible things and abuse through a lens of innocence. Jeanette McCurdy does an absolutely amazing job at going back to those stages, to being 11, to being 7, being 16, and looking at it still through that perspective, and then bring you a twist from adulthood. However, it's very well done. It's a very quick read, it's interesting. I give it 5 out of 5 because for me it's very difficult to give anything less to a memoir. The only things I look for is that it's well written and it has an overall authentic voice. And it is difficult because we don't know these people. So what do I mean by authentic voice is that it speaks through me as honest and raw and vulnerable, because I feel like that is what we, or at least I, want from a memoir, is this insight into the human psyche, into memories, into dealing with trauma and difficult things. But sometimes celebrity memoirs especially tend to be a bit glossy, tend to be detached, and you don't really get a lot of the person. This might be because a lot of celebrities use ghostwriters, so it's not entirely their voice there, but it's someone that is trying to mimic this authenticity. But I am not sure. For me, Jennette McCurdy's memoir rendered very raw, very touching, and it really talks about everything. Childhood trauma, growing up with abusive parents, eating disorders, that was a big one that affected me a lot. But also how those abusive relationships and codependency transfer to codependent relationships as an adult, and how everything has that origin from childhood. So if you're interested in that, or if you're interested in her and her story, I totally recommend it. I also have heard that she does the audiobook. Maybe that would be a great option because I prefer my memoirs in audiobooks. Next, I read Bunny by Mona Awad. And I think this is a 2019 book. I might be wrong, I should have checked. But I got to Bunny because I read her most recent novel, All's Well, that you also have a video here in this channel somewhere, like from last year. And I found Mona Awad's writing style as, I don't want to say revolting because that has very bad connotations. I think that her writing style is mystifying and it makes you dizzy. It's like I don't know, something that goes over and over, like a swirl of words and sensations and smells, that at least in All's Well, it was very well done. I feel like in Bunny, it does not fully develop. In Bunny, there's a lot of shock moments and you're like, what the hell? With All's Well, I had a visceral reaction that when I finished the book, I was like, I'm not sure if I like it or not. And with Bunny, I was like, I'm not even sure if I understood what happened, which might have been her main idea, that she wanted us to be a bit wondering towards the end and make our own ending, or wonder what is real and what is not real. But I am getting totally ahead of myself. I picked Bunny as a read for August because I wanted to prepare for like spooky season and Dark Academia. And Bunny follows a group of rich girls in a very competitive liberal arts school for the graduate program. They're all part of the creative writing program, but they're divided between the poetry writers and the fiction prose writers. And the prose writers are this group of girls who are very cliquey and rich, and they all call each other Bunny. However, our main character is not part of the bunnies, and she feels like this outsider because everything that they do is in a group. And I come from a background when I hate people who are like that. I hate cliques. I hate people who are like, you cannot sit with us. We are only us. We are this group. I hate that. But that's why I didn't want to go into this book in the beginning. But after reading All's Well, I was like, okay, sure, let's try Bunny. And the thing with Bunny is that everything kind of turns weird. And the premise is that Samantha, this outsider, she's on a scholarship, she is not as pretty, she is not rich, obviously, and she hasn't been able to write in a long time. She has this writer's block, and they're like about to start writing their thesis. However, the bunnies one day sent her an invitation for whatever secret club that they have, and she goes, and things go weird very quickly. She discovers why they call themselves the bunnies and what they actually create in this creative writing program. And there's this big analogy between creation of words and stories into actual creation of beings in power. And I feel like, yes, it is Dark Academia. The people that would just recommend this as, oh, it's Dark Academia, read it, don't fully understand that it's a joke on Ivy League elitist schools and creative writing programs. How do they discuss the body and the bullshit writing that they do and the feedback? And even the book accuses the bunnies of writing only for shock value. And we get in this book a lot of shock value moments. I don't want to go into detail of what happens in this book because shock value. If you do want to read it, that's the best part, I think, to be like, what is happening? So I give it 3 out of 5, which is a totally okay rating. I feel like Mona Awad definitely outdid herself with her next novel. And yeah, if you really like Bunny, I would love for you to leave me a comment down below of why do you love it, because again, all's well, I was like, I don't know if I like it or I don't like it, but when I started thinking about it, I was like, okay, yeah, I do like it. But it's been like 2 or 3 weeks since I finished Bunny, and I'm still like, okay, like you know, I didn't get that gut feeling towards the end or after, and right now I'm like, yeah, sure, I read it. So I'm very happy I don't have a physical copy of that, but yeah, that was my reading. Then I read Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren, and 5-star. Here you can really see that I was all over the place this month, and I needed to touch base and go back to romance. And I just wanted any romance. But then I saw on TikTok people were talking about this book, and I saw that it was friends to lovers, which is my favorite trope. And I was like, let's do this. Love in Other Words follows Macy and Elliot. They met when they were kids because Macy's mom died, and then her father acquired a cabin close by for them to spend the weekends and just to unwind and relax because Macy's mom asked him to in a letter. This is important because the connection with Macy's mom, even when she dies, is very prevalent during the book. The mom is everywhere, her love for books is everywhere, and it's a love that goes beyond her and is passed on the next generation, that is Macy and Elliot. As I said, they meet when they're kids, but the book is actually in 2 timelines. We have their late childhood years and their teenage years, but we also have Macy and Elliot bumping into each other 11 years after the big thing happened and they stopped talking to each other. So now they're like about to be 30 or like in their late 20s, and they haven't seen each other for 10 years and they still have all these feelings that they never resolved. Bumping into each other throws them into the past and thinking of why things happen. And Macy is a very secretive person. She keeps everything inside. So for her, it's difficult to realize and accept that Elliot and her have always been in love and that they should have talked about what happened. But as a reader, you don't know what happened. So you're like, this guy must have killed her dog or something for them to be that close and then one day stop talking. But when you get there, I was crying. I was crying at the realization of what happened. The whole book, I had already, when I was 20% in, I had already decided that this was a 5-star book. And it's one of those books that marked me, that is going to stay with me, that speaks to me in a very specific way that I feel like it was written for me or by me or with me in mind. Not that this has ever happened to me, but everything happening made so much sense. The setting is San Francisco and Berkeley, and I fell in love with Berkeley. I know what it feels to falling in love with Berkeley. It's like, it's everything that I want, and I'm gonna give it 5 out of 5. If you have something bad to say about this one, maybe save it for yourself, or just be very nice in the comment. You'll be like, I don't like it, and like, that's up to you, but I loved it. Love in Other Words, 5 out of 5. I'm gonna buy this book because I read the ebook version, and I'm gonna have it, and I'm gonna love it, and I already want to reread it. Sorry, that escalated a bit. But that's when you know that it's very invested. This month, roller coaster, those were the 4 books I read in the month of August. I don't know how many books I'm gonna read in September because that's when my classes finally start again. I need to finish my translation project. But I'll keep you posted, of course. We already have one that if you follow me on my Twitter, you already saw me ranting about it in the good way. Please let me know the books that you read during the month of August. For all of you that supported the back to school series, I am so happy for the feedback and the results that I got. And if you are new in this channel because of the back to school series, I hope you like the regular content and program we have here. You can always request something. My name is Isabel. Thanks for watching. Keep reading, and you're not, follow me on all my social media, link down below. Just as I wish you a successful semester, I hope I have one too, and I'll be seeing you next week. Bye.